Working? Okay, it's loading. Good evening, guys. Morning, afternoon, night, evening, whenever you're watching. Don't know. Hi. Just proof that I was a fanboy and actually went to brands. So yeah, we are here talking about the season, about what we've just seen. Season we knew where it was going to go. Good old Ash. he's just the man for the job. I think we all had our suspicions that he was going to be the one to win it, and fair play to him. He drove the shit out of that car. Weight, no weight. Changed his styling as well. You know, learn how to actually not take it right to the front line by just easing off. You know, what's that word? Calm, steady, something like that. So a deserved victory. Yeah, I think fairly early on that we knew, lovely bit of hair sticking out there, that we knew that he was going to do it. But it was a hell of a season anyway, because if you wanted to look beyond who was actually just going to win overall, you saw some really promising drives coming from other drivers. You saw Jake Hill really stepping up. Now, he had a great season. He's always been a good driver, but he's actually showed himself to be a real title challenger in next year or the year after, or however it's going to fall now with that car with new regs. We saw Tom Ingram. I mean, for God's sake, that guy's got to do. He's got a title in him at least once. I really hope for him. But again, it was a positive drive. But we saw others. We saw other drivers. Senna Proctor had a hell of a season. I don't care what you say. I don't care what someone in my mentions had to say about him. You know, it's personal opinion, but he came in that car, no testing, no previous, missed Thruxton, and he still made it in the top 10 of the championship, I believe. Not forgetting he's a Jack Sears Trophy winner. He's a good driver. Has he got a championship in him Monday? I don't know. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. Who knows? Aidan Moffat getting a win again. You know, but in a rear-wheel drive, so he's adapted quickly. He's taken that year to get used to it. He's had good training, obviously, been in a team with Ash, and he's been brilliant because we were looking at Colin Turkington, the likes of it, going, "Wow, he's got two rear gunners now. You know, like he's going to be really backed up." And yeah, they had good years as well. You know, there's a race wins for Tom Oliphant, which was good. Stephen Jelly, forever the good starter, but the real rear gunner was Aidan Moffat, and we saw that at Brands this weekend. We saw when Colin Turkington was really having to push on the back of Ash starting to just get something. He couldn't because he had Aidan sat behind who was going, you know what? I've got a lighter car. I've got the skill set. I can take you if you do this. So it was really well played, and that's a good team that Leigh still's got going there. You know, it's brilliant. You switch over to the Porsches, and I know I need to sort of talk about touring cars Porsches because they're just brilliant. You've got a four-way battle that was just sublime to watch. That, I guess, second Porsche race of the weekend, but it's the first one on the Sunday. The top four all gunning for it. I mean, it was just Frost and Spills were up at Druids, and every time we were just seeing someone, we could hear the announcer going absolutely booloo. So it was just a hell of a day. It was a hell of a championship, and again, I just think Dan's the man. He's brilliant. But there's good things to come from all four of those drivers up there. I mean, Harry King, I doubt we'll ever see him on the touring car grid. I think he will just not leapfrog. That's disrespectful, but he is going to move on. I mean, he's already got his experience on the F1 calendar in the Porsches and everything. So I think that's a good sign of what's to come for him and where he will probably go. If we see him world touring cars, we see him stay in GTs, something like that. We don't know. It'd be brilliant to see him on the touring car grid. You know, silly season is upon us, but we'll get to that. So I'm looking at my notes. They're right there. You can't see them, but I can. So Ash Sutton wins with Dan Robo and the Jack Sears, again, it was pretty nailed on early doors. But it was good for Dan to just shut people up because, again, it's this whole thing. People don't, they don't understand or they don't want to understand that it's a budget business. You have to stump up figures, figures to race. And if you're lucky, you might take some of that home, I think. Um, so it worked out well for him. He had good sponsors that stuck by him, and he had a team that knew that all the sponsorships made sense. But amongst everything else, they're a reputable team, so they had to know that he's going to do a job, and he did. He took silverware home. He's got race wins, poles, just all round challenging. So yeah, that's the three I want to sort of talk about there, and obviously the minis went to a good final race. Gutted for Bobby T, just taking the win and then shooting off. But yeah, that's just racing. Sorry, I got a bit of a pinch back. I'm sat in the store right now, so yeah. So I've got now some surprises going into the year. Obviously, I spoke Senna, Aidan Moffat, Jake Hill and Tom Ingram. Josh Cook coming in third. I'd have seen him up there, but I wouldn't have put him that high. But he's storming. So again, another future champ. You'd like to think so. Why not? If I'm going to talk surprises which were bad, I was disappointed Gordon Shedden didn't make more of an impact coming into this year. There was a huge hype around the guy coming back, obviously from his trip around World Touring Cars, where, as we know, it wasn't his best, but it's a different kettle of fish, and also the travel. If you're used to being in a calendar which keeps you in the UK, going out to all these tracks you've not raced before, I mean, it's not easy. But I was hoping, we were all hopeful. We all thought, because he still kept a foot at the door of the team, that he did the test driving when Neil was injured going into last season. But season back, the talent's there. He was up there competitive when he got good grid space, so I wouldn't rule him out yet for years to come. Another, I don't want to say negative, another surprise, but in a bad way, was actually poor Ollie Jackson. Now, he had a good year. He was making, he got his race win, and he was quite competitive in the Motorbase Ford, and sort of deserved the drive and the better of the two Fords, it seemed, than the other two, because it's all one big thing, I believe. I just thought he'd be building this season. He'd be building on his successful last season. He didn't. He stayed middle of the pack. I mean, he didn't do bad. He wasn't at the back, but seeing as he's not in a Jack Sears contention or anything like that, and it's kind of like, right, let's be pushing on at least for the, well, I'm definitely not independence with Ash Sutton, but just pushing on. Didn't, but again, next season's a whole nother season. Now, if you, I'm going to drop a bomb here. My prediction, and some of you are just going to go, well, that's just obvious, shut up. And others are going to go, I didn't think of it that way. If Dan Cammish was in the championship for a whole season, he'd have taken it all the way. Second or first, but probably second. But he would have pushed it a long way, because you saw how storming he was at the first round at Thruxton, and admittedly, he probably could have had 2 wins in that round. I mean, he was still like over halfway in, not top 10, but by halfway in the season, he was still at the top half of the table. Because the fact that he only raced 3 races, it was just crazy. And then he just switched over to Porsches and just blows that one up. Well, he didn't blow it away, but he won it. If he'd stuck with BTC for the whole season, yeah, I would have quite happily put a bet down on it. Not a big one, I'm not a big bettor. But yeah, so that's my bombshell. Like I say, some of you are just going to sit here and go, well, yeah, obviously, mate, he's fucking good. But so, yeah, he deserves a drive next season. We all know it, but he's got sponsorship now. Duckens, all these other, good work. We could see that yellow and blue livery on a touring car next season, but he could also be somewhere else. Ah, long flailing arms. So yeah, the final round's gone. We're going into winter. We're going into the season of silly. All the rumours start flying about, and it is just glorious. So straight away, off the bat, Ash Stutton's leaving. Oh, there's been an argument at Laser Tools. How do any of you know that? Please tell me your insider secrets, because he could go. Admittedly, he could take a drive anywhere now. Tin top. Anywhere in the world. He could go to Australia, he could go to World Touring Cars, he could go... People are saying NASCAR. I mean, why not? So he could go. He could bow out as a champ. He could go, yep, that's free there. I'm in the peak. Okay, I'm off. Why not? Or he might stay. You know, who knows at this point? But if he does go, it's definitely... Well, we all know that Tom Ingram's got the seat already. It's signed, sealed, delivered. Because he was in that picture. Why else would he be in that photo? Other than the fact that it's Tom Ingram and he's just like that. So this whole rumour mill swirling around, you know. It's brilliant, but just take it with a pinch of salt, guys, for crying out loud, because we don't know. It's nothing. Who's going to sort this stuff out now? Well, even if this stuff's sorted out, stuff is sorted out on the last day sometimes, you know, like these are one of these last minute deals, you know, like when Motorbase found out on the last day that all the drivers found out that David Bartram was selling the team, moving on. They had no idea. You know, when we spoke to Jack Buttel, and it was just like, he was with Sicily, and it was just like, yeah, good season, but yeah, we're not going to keep you on. These things could have happened, but they could not. So it's silly season. What we're pretty confident now, the real rumour is Andy Neek's going to retire. If you watch his ITV interview, yeah, you could probably bank on that. He was watching his son. He's more involved in that now. And do you know what? He's taken his fair share of criticism. So I wouldn't blame him for just saying, you know what, I've had enough now. So hopefully you lot can actually stop making Andy Neek jokes in every comment on Twitter and Facebook, because it's just a bit boring now, guys, if I'm being brutally honest. But, you know, if you really hate the guy, just send him a message. I'm sure he'd love to read all your hate mail. Sam Osborne was another one I saw was linked to go. He had a quiet season, but not a bad season. You know, it's what, second in Jack Sears. It's definitely something to build on. Don't know. Maybe he will. Maybe he won't. But if he does go, as you know, you see Motorbase are wanting a new number one mechanic, so it could be open. The likelihood is they're still going to have a car, two cars, free. You know, I would love to see Duncan take one of those seats, take one of those Fords, and just make progress with it. So yeah, guys, so, you know, take it with a pinch of salt. Not until these teams are actually really reporting it. You know, this isn't football deadline day. You know, Harry Redknapp leaning out the side of a Range Rover. It's all so much more informal. But by all means, discuss it. I'll be happy to chat to people. You know what I'm like. So yeah, so this is today's little rambling with Will. I have just rambled for the last 14 minutes. And more of this will come just through the winter, maybe a monthly thing. You know, when the news comes out, we can talk about it. But I'm working on getting to Spotify. I might do it after this, actually, because there's an R1 meeting downstairs. So if you want to clear up your skin, get in shape, or you know, if you like beauty products, I know to any female listeners out there, get in contact. I'll get you in contact about some discount codes for R1, maybe. Good stuff. It is good stuff. I'm a bit gluten-free now, so, you know, it got me somewhere. I have gluten-free porridge oats for my breakfast. Not on the almond milk yet, though. I'm just not there. But yeah, anyway, so give it a like, this video. That would be lovely. Subscribe. We like the numbers. Give us a follow on Twitter, Instagram, not on Facebook anymore. Might do a Reddit page. Follow Pixcar. It's Ryan's doing his photography. Good photos. He's going to get some edited up, sent to me, so I'll post them up. Get that ball rolling, because as I said in the last video, doing this stuff amateur, it's not easy. It takes time. We all have jobs. So yeah, like, subscribe. Can't believe I'm saying that. And I will talk to you. I've got it now. And I want you to like and subscribe. Bye, folks. Shit. Bye-bye.